Center, Cooper Center, and Shipman Gym in Keau. There are 1,400 masks available at each site. Each person may receive up to 3 masks. Masks do not protect against gases and vapors. They will only provide filtering for ash. We are on watch 24 hours a day for your safety. This is your Hawaii County Civil Defense Agency. This is a civil defense message for Friday, May 25th at 11 in the morning. The National Weather Service
Mahalo.
We will open it up for questions and answers. The 5 speakers today are Wendy Stovall, a geologist, volcanologist with the U.S. Geological Survey Hawaiian Volcano Observatory. Ashley Sears, a meteorologist and liaison to FEMA. She's with the NOAA's, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, National Weather Service. Jessica Farrakane joins us from Hawaii Volcano's National Park. Tim Sakahara will represent the Hawaii Department of Transportation. And Ross Birch represents the Island of Hawaii Visitors Bureau. So we'll start with our first speaker, who will be Wendy Stovall. That's S as in Sam, T as in Tom, O, V as in Victor, A-L-L. Wendy Stovall with the U.S. Geological Survey. Go ahead, Wendy.
Hi, everybody. So today we are still seeing the same type of activity that we had been seeing over the past few days. Things are pretty steady. The Lower East Rift Zone continues to erupt lots of lava fed from several different fissures. There's a complex, fissures 7 and 21, which is in the eastern side of Leilani Estates neighborhood, has produced a broad pond of lava that's spread over the area. It's actually overprinting on top of a flow that erupted earlier on in the eruption about 2 weeks ago. And so it's a big ponded area, and that is not really sending flows down to the south to the ocean entry. There are still 2 main lava channels being fed from other sources that are a little bit east from that 7 and 21 complex in eastern Leilani Estates, and those 2 channels are reaching the ocean. So today we only have 2 ocean entries. There's no split at the end of one of the channels anymore. So that's kind of the newest thing down there. Seismicity is still relatively low, and deformation is pretty flat, so we're not seeing any ground movement up, down, or laterally. Up at the summit, seismicity rates are still high. The larger explosive eruptions are occurring every about a little bit more than 1 per day is the average right now. And we're still seeing continuous, there's some continuous plume out of the summit. It's either really just water vapor, mostly water vapor looking like just a white cloud, and then occasionally there's some ash, and there is significant ashfall that's, well, not significant. There's ashfall that's occurring downwind and affecting communities. We are still getting lots of ashfall reports from the communities that are straight down the trade wind barrel. That's today's. Oh, deformation continues at the summit. We just had an update this morning, and it looked like there was about 1.3 meters of subsidence at the summit so far.
Thank you, Wendy. I'd like to introduce Ashley Sears. That's A-S-H-L-E-Y. Sears, like the store, S-E-A-R-S. Ashley is an emergency liaison with FEMA. She works for NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, and is a meteorologist with the National Weather Service. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We continue in the trade wind pattern that we've been seeing for the past few days, and we're going to continue in this pattern through the weekend. So what this means is we have this persisting low-level northeast flow. So impacts, looking at that, at the summit, what this means is that there is an explosion, and as Wendy has mentioned, there is almost a continual plume, so there is ash coming out, and then we do have the sporadic bigger explosions as well. So as long as the plume is less than 15,000 feet above ground level, which we have been having most, in fact, all of them in the recent days have been less than that, any ash from the plume will push the southwest from the summit along Highway 11 down to Pu'u. And then another thing to note, the latest National Weather Service sighting shows that the winds don't become more westerly until about 15,000 feet above ground level. So really, it would take the plume getting back at that 15,000 feet for any ash to potentially impact the eastern part of the island. And again, the explosions we've been seeing in the past few days have mainly created plumes between 5,000 to 8,000 feet above ground level. And then looking to the areas around fissures, as previously mentioned, as long as sulfur dioxide is being emitted from the fissures, we are going to continue to see the development of fog. And the fog concern will be primarily in the immediate area of the fissures and to the south and west due to those northeast winds through the coming weekend. One last note, just unrelated to weather, but something that was asked about yesterday I wanted to address as well with my work with FEMA concerning small businesses. Someone had asked about any disaster relief for small businesses, and there is, people can reach out, these small businesses can reach out and request information and apply for loans from the Disaster Loan Assistance. And the phone number I have here for this is 1-800-659-2955. Again, this is for the small businesses in the area here that are affected by the volcano. There is possible loan funding for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. I want to introduce Jessica Ferricane. Ferricane is F as in Frank, E-R-R-A-C-A-N-E. Jessica Ferricane is the Public Information Officer for Hawaii Volcano's National Park.
Good morning, everybody. Aloha. I'm on a headset. Is my voice coming across okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So it's status quo. Today is day 15 of the majority of the park being closed. I'm actually up here now at Kilauea Visitor Center in my office. I had to grab some essential items for the new digs and helo, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of what it feels like to be here. Since I've gotten in, there's been a couple little earthquakes, and so it feels very unsettling, both figuratively and literally. The air is quite chewy, we like to say. It feels ashy, and SO2 meters aren't showing a lot of gases, but it must be the ash that I'm detecting in my mouth getting really dry. So still a very unsafe and unpleasant place to be here at the summit in Hawaii Volcano's National Park. The park, we're getting a lot of questions on when we're going to reopen. The park will remain closed until USGS and Pele tells us it is okay and safe to reopen. So it is, like I said, status quo. Park closure remains intact until it's safe. Another message we want to get across, because it is Memorial Day weekend and 10 miles of Highway 11 run through the national park in our jurisdiction. This is a weekend that is notoriously high in DUI arrests and drunken driving. So for our local media especially, if you could help emphasize that we will have additional law enforcement on and doing DUI checkpoints, etc. Please, people, do not drink and drive, not only this weekend, but any weekend. And that's my update.
Thank you, Jessica. Let me introduce Tim Sakahara. That's S as in Sam, A-K-A-H-A-R-A. Tim is with the Hawaii Department of Transportation. Go ahead, Tim.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. I will first start by echoing what Jessica just said about the DUIs on a holiday weekend being part of the Department of Transportation. I would just encourage everybody, everywhere, on all roadways to refrain from drinking and driving. especially out there on the Big Island and the affected areas, but everywhere. In terms of an update for the Kilauea eruption, Highway 130 is still open to local traffic, and the area continues to be monitored with gas and temperature readings. There are no additional roadblocks to state roads, and physically there is no change to the roads in terms of access from yesterday. I will add that even though the steel plates have slightly heated in the areas of 130, the steel plates are heat resistant and are still safe, and no problems have been reported or associated with the plates or any sort of slight temperature rise to them. And I'll be happy to take questions in the Q&A portion of the call.
Thank you, Tim. The next speaker will be Ross Birch, B-I-R-C-H, like the tree. Ross Birch is the Executive Director of the Island of Hawaii Visitor Bureau.
Good morning. Just a quick update. We actually are continuing to pace at about a 25% increase over year arrivals, which is still good news. We're kind of watching that on a daily basis, and it continues to keep the same trend. Good news from our NCL partners is they're choosing to redock into Kona on May 30th. Great news there. They still are going to bypass the Port of Hilo through the month of June and July until conditions change. They will be looking at that very seriously on a week-to-week basis. So far, the economic impact from that's about $3 million of missed port calls. Another good news is our call volume, as far as those looking to change their travel plans or cancellations, have been decreasing, and they're becoming more specific, which is great that the people are getting information and accurate information out there about what the exact situation is. And then Ashley mentioned earlier that the business impact is very severe to a lot of those specific areas. We've been working with them as well to help assist in any way we can to get them the help they need. That's all for me.
Thank you, Ross. Fran, operator, I think we're ready to open it up for questions. I do request that all of the reporters please ask one question at a time so that more people get an opportunity to ask questions. And let's take it from there. We're ready for first questions.
Thank you so much. So if you would like to ask a question, please press star then 1. Please unmute your phone and record your name and affiliation. You will be announced by name and affiliation as I open your line. If you care to withdraw your request, that would be star 2. But at this time, star 1 to ask a question. One moment, please, for our first response. Our first is from Jim Roop, Westwood One News. Your line's open.
Good morning. This is for Ross, if I may. Ross, you mentioned that, if I got this correct, and you mentioned it the other day too, that there's a 25% increase in tourism this year over last year. If I have that right, if it were not for this, what was the projected before this event began? Would it have been higher as a percentage? And then, secondly, is there any way to quantify what the negative impact on business has been?
Okay, the 25% increase is just for the month of May specifically, May over May for the month last year. As an island year to date, we're trending a little bit lower than that because we had far greater numbers in the first quarter of last year. So we're trending a little bit lower at year-to-date numbers. But the amount that we're seeing increasing is based on actually having a 50% increase in lift. We have air seats that have increased 50% year over year at this time. So we have the available seats coming in. So that kind of gives us the availability of a little bit higher increase in arrivals during that time period. I don't know exactly what of an anticipation number we'd have. Starting the year, we would hope to have a 10% would be a huge increase for us year over year, and it seems like we're exceeding that number as it is currently.
And the impact to business, is there a figure attached to that just yet?
There is not. It's really across the board. Some businesses are actually seeing a little bit more of a bump, depending on what their niche is or what they're providing specifically. Other businesses, from the hotel standpoint, it seems to be the regular initial cancellations that occurred within the first couple of weeks of the incident, and then some of the group activity canceling down the line are the largest effects. The good news from a hotel standpoint is we have the ability to regenerate that, and hopefully when things turn around, we can bring them back and get those numbers back on that side. It's the small businesses, like Ashley had mentioned as well earlier. Those are the hardest hit ones at this point. Them taking a $5,000 to $10,000 loss every week or every couple of days is really a hard hit for them.
Thank you very much.
Our next request from Andrew Hay of Reuters. Your line is open.
Hi, this is a question for Wendy and anyone else who's familiar with the situation in Leilani Gardens. It appears that those fishes 7 and 21 are producing very large quantities of ash, lava that is pooling, and then once it breaks out, I believe it took out a good chunk of a street last night. I believe up to 8 houses were destroyed. And Wendy, I wonder if you could just talk about that process and just how destructive things are getting there in Leilani Estates.
I can talk a little bit about it. I don't know the number of structures that were destroyed overnight or since Fissure 7 has become active. Yes, you are correct that it began moving kind of up and down one of the main streets. I can't exactly remember what the name of it is. I'll have to look it up. So
the street is Kaupili Street.
Okay. So the process that's happening is the topography is relatively flat, and actually there's a bit of an indentation, so just a low-lying topography in this area of Leilani Estates. The fissure is erupting in this area. Lava flows are moving outward, but because there's no significant slope for them to travel down, the lava flow is kind of just filling up that low-lying area, and as it fills up, it's inflating itself from below. So yesterday on the call, I mentioned that there's a crust or like an outer shell of lava that cools really quickly in some of these instances. So it's kind of doing that. It's crusting itself over, and then more lava will come up underneath, and it's kind of pushing the crust out, and that crust will spill over the edges at the margins of this very large pooled area. And it happens, as it's moving up a street, when it's in the vegetated areas or encountering buildings, then it will ignite those things on fire. So it's like a rising tide. That's kind of the way to imagine it. It's not like a river of lava like we're seeing in the channelized areas. It's this tide of lava that rises up and then kind of overflows itself on the edges, and then it just keeps rising and progressing forward slowly, even though there's a large volume of lava coming out of those vents.
And just the volume, would 50 to 60 cubic meters per second be an accurate reading? Again,
we have not gotten some numbers on that yet. We don't know what the effusion rate is.
Thank you.
To ask a question, please press star then 1. Our next, Ms. Yana, Associated Press, your line is open.
Hi, thanks everyone for doing the call again. Ross, I just wanted to ask if you could clarify the $3 million that you mentioned, if that's just for the month of May, or if that's related specifically to the impact of Norwegian Cruise Lines choosing not to dock. If you could just clarify that overall, that particular number. And then I have also a question for Wendy. If there's any sort of anything that you might be able to give us in terms of forward-looking advice on what you expect might happen next with the volcano, if we're going to keep seeing some of these steam explosions happen?
Okay, so to clarify, the $3 million is basically what what we've lost so far with the mist dockboardings plus the potential loss of June and July with NCL, not docking in Hilo.
So this is specifically just for cruise ships that would have come from that one company?
Yeah, or the other companies that have missed port calls previous to this as well.
I see. So the months of May, June, and July, overall estimated impact of what you've lost with those cruise ships choosing not to dock?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, and then just an update.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Wendy Stovall, USGS. The simple answer is we expect it to be more of the same from both locations. More lava outflowing from the fissures and more explosions producing ash at the sun.
And is there anything about the conditions that you're seeing that would indicate how high these steam explosions might go? Like, how many feet above sea level? Is there anything that would indicate bigger or smaller?
This is Wendy again. I think it's just going to be the same thing that we're seeing. So we're starting to see this pattern of, a little bit, like maybe one to two per day of explosions at the summit that produce ash that reach between 7 up to 30,000 feet, which we saw the 30,000 feet back on May 18th. And then the smaller ones will still continue to emit ash as well. But the real point is that ash is still coming out and the people downwind are still being impacted by that ash, even if it is the larger explosions or the smaller ones.
Okay, great. And just one last question.
Excuse me, this is Leslie Gordon. If I could ask the reporters to please limit your questions to one so that we can give more people an opportunity to ask questions. If you have additional ones, please join the end of the queue, and we'll see how many questions we can get through. Thank you.
I would ask if you're holding the call again over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, over the holiday weekend, so we know if we should be ready for that.
Yes, every day. It may be a smaller group of speakers, but I plan to do it every day through the holiday weekend.
Also at this time, 11 a.m.?
Same time.
Okay.
Same phone number, access codes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next request from Gabriel Sanchez, NBC News. Your line is open.
Hi, thank you. We were trying to confirm the acreage consumed by the lava. We saw a number of 15,000 acres that were covered in lava, now being hardened. We were just wondering if we can get an estimate, maybe from Wendy, on the amount of acreage or square miles that have been covered in lava.
Hi, this is Wendy. I don't have a number for that. Janet might be able to talk.
Well, a few days ago I saw a preliminary...
This is Janet Babb.
Yeah, sorry, Janet Babb, USGS. A few days ago I saw a preliminary number, but I think we need to confirm it before I say anything wrong. So we will get back to you. You can email askhbo@usgs.gov, and I'll get the answer.
Thank you. Our next request, Joseph Anthony, Caters News. Your line is open.
Yes, good morning. I heard some information this morning, a couple of hours ago, that lava might be reaching the junction of Highway 132 and Pohiki Road, which will obviously close the access from Pahoa across to 137. Can anybody confirm whether this is an accurate bit of information?
This is Wendy Stovall, USGS. So there are lava pond. There's a pretty high lava pond that's 14 meters high. That's perched above Pohiki Road right now. So I don't know exactly. I mean, yes. Hold on just a minute. Sorry, I was just trying to confirm whether or not what's going on with 132. So this Pohiki Road pond that I'm talking about is this is where there's a large volume of material that's coming out of the vents that are right by that. So what we expect here is just minor overflows to occur on that north side of the road where this perched pond has built up. It's not necessarily, it could, a side of the pond could break through. Okay. A side of the pond could break off and some lava flows could issue forth. However, when that happens, it cools relatively quickly, just like we're seeing around the Fissure 7 and 21 area. That's, it's not advancing away. It's not moving, the flow front is not moving very rapidly forward. So it would be the same thing on the north side of this perched pond area, and I just got confirmation that 132 is not cut off. But there are cracks. There are cracks.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Our next request, Chelsea Davis of Hawaii News Now. Your line is open.
Hi, this message is for, the question is for Tim Sakahara. Just wanted to know a little bit more about the status of Highway 130. I know you said it's still open, but you folks are monitoring. Can you talk about the cracks a little more? Like if there's a number, how many, how large?
Certainly, yeah. So the Highway 130 still has cracks, kind of in the 14. It's in scattered throughout a 0.2 of a mile stretch, if you will, kind of in the area of mile marker 14. They have been covered, and they are continually monitored with the gas and temperature readings. And the temperature readings that have been reported haven't reached anything higher than about 130 degrees at the peak, which is still relatively low and still safe, especially considering that the steel pipes and things are heat resistant. So there haven't been any issues or problems reported to as a result of that higher heat, if you will. And the sulfur dioxide levels have not been reached any sort of hazardous level in that area, to my knowledge, as well.
Okay, thank you.
This is Wendy Stovall, USGS. I just want to mention something about the cracks on Highway 130 as well. We have a team of people who are monitoring those, both geologically speaking, and then with the gas. There's a gas group that's measuring the gases that are coming out of that. And if sulfur dioxide begins to come out of those cracks, it means that magma has moved closer to the surface in that area, and there is no sulfur dioxide at all coming out of those cracks. So that is an indication that there is still magma below the water table. And if we do start to see SO2, then we will certainly be notifying the Department of Defense and the EOC, which the Department of Transportation is a part of.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Our next request from Kevin Beacon, Honolulu Star Advertiser, and your line's open.
Hi, this is Kevin. Thanks for taking the call. Just wondering if DOT could give us an update on Chain of Craters, whether that's still an active plan to reopen that, or if the agreement has been signed between the state and, I guess, the national park, and where that stands.
Thanks, Kevin. Yes, the Chain of Craters Road option or alternative is still in the works. The road itself will take some work before it is accessible, removing some of the pre-existing lava that was on the roadway. It is important to note that once that happens, the roadway where the lava currently is from the previous event, it's not going to be paved, but it will be removed, it will be level graded, and then basically gravel over it. And that road, once it is, and if it is necessary to use the evacuation road, at least at this point, would be a one-way, just exit-only evacuation route. It wouldn't be an ingress or egress type of roadway, again, at least at this point. So we are working towards that end to keep that as a possible alternative if necessary.
And was the agreement to open that road signed? Is it completed and you're ready to break ground?
Not yet. It is still going through review and just making sure all the logistical issues are are considered and factored in.
Thank you.
Our next now from Denise Laitman, USA Today. Your line is open, ma'am.
Hi, this question is for Ashley. Ashley, if you could repeat the information that you had stated about the small business loans, because I had heard that there were some small business owners in the Pu'u area that had tried to apply and were told that they weren't eligible.
Yes, ma'am, and I can't speak to whether or not someone can be eligible or not. I just wanted to share the phone number so that they could call if they had questions and follow up to it. The disaster loan assistance line is 1-800-659-2955. Unfortunately, I can't speak more to who would be approved or not, but they could at least call and ask further questions if needed.
Well, they said they weren't allowed to apply because there wasn't enough damage from by FEMA guidelines yet.
That I cannot speak to. All I was told is that funding had been opened and people could apply, or businesses could apply. And unfortunately, I can't speak to anything more than that. That's just what I've been told.
Okay, thank you.
Our next request now from Andrew Gomes, Honolulu Star-Advertiser. Your line is open, sir.
Great, thanks. I appreciate it. I had a question for Ross regarding the 25% visitor increase through May. Do you have any data that shows where they're going? I'm just curious if more folks are flying into and staying in Kona versus Hilo.
We don't have the specific breakdown, and unfortunately, to get all that detail, we have to wait till the following month or the end of June before we get the specific statistics.
Okay, thanks.
If you have a question, please press star, then 1. Currently, I have 2 left in queue. Our next now from Gabriel Sanchez, NBC News. Your line is open.
Operator, since we have 2 people left in the queue for questions, let's cut it off after the second one. Thank you. Go ahead.
You.
I was just wondering if there was any estimates on the amount of damage and cost, if there was any real dollars for homes, businesses that have not potential for future or anything like that, but costs that have already been for damage already done.
This is Janet Babb, USGS. Those numbers would come from the county of Hawaii. So you could try reaching out to Hawaii County Civil Defense or the Hawaii County Mayor's Office.
Thank you.
Our last question from Andrew Hay, Reuters. Your line's open, sir.
Thank you. Just a follow-up on Highway 30. Wendy, you mentioned that in the event that you saw SO2 emissions coming out of cracks in the highway, that you would contact the Department of Defense. Is that the sort of red flag that might trigger the air evacuation that the task force has trained for and is ready to do under certain circumstances?
Wendy Stovall, USGS. I can't actually speak to anything about what types of evacuations would occur. All we can do is advise of the science that's happening on the ground. So we would have our person. We have someone sitting at the emergency operations center, which has representatives from all of the agencies dealing with this crisis present, and they would relay the information to all of the parties that need to be informed about that, and those people would be the ones that make decisions about evacuations or what they're going to do about the road or alternative routes or whatever.
Thanks. Tim, are you aware of any, what would trigger an evacuation, an air evacuation?
Well, it would be better answered by the DOD and the EOC and the governor's office as well. But clearly, we are working on other contingencies on Highway 130, on Chena Crater Road, in order to help people with an evacuation, an emergency evacuation, if it came to that. Certainly, air evacuation would be an option if necessary, but there are other contingencies in the works and planned, if necessary, for the roadways. Just make sure that that connectivity is still there for the surrounding communities and an access for a way to exit the area if it comes to that.
Thank you.
I want to round this up and say thank you very much to everyone who joined us and asked good questions. Thank you also to our speakers. I really appreciate it. This call will happen again tomorrow at the same time. We'll go right through the holiday weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's 11 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time and the same dial-in number and code. In the meantime, if you have questions, please go to the websites of not only the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, the National Weather Service, the National Park, and the State Department of Transportation and the Visitor Bureau. All agencies have great websites with lots of good current information on them. And I'll wrap it up for today and say thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Again, conference is now concluded. Thank you for your
together.
Have been watching
donating their time, volunteering, and also, just ate lunch here in at the hub. So if you guys want a hot meal, anybody that was affected by the lava or anything like that, come by the hub and come check us out. Also, so another thing too, so we've been checking out all in Leilani today. Went to my friend's house on Pomaikai and Malama, and there's some huge cracks. That's the cracks that I was monitoring the other day, and the cracks are actually getting bigger. So there's tons of steam coming out, and so as far as lava coming out of that area is pretty much gonna happen. So with that being said, I'm gonna go back into Leilani later on, and I'll be back in there to kind of report on what's going on. But there's tons of lava that is headed towards Kahukai area. So I'm here actually here at our hub, and there's tons of stuff that is happening on social media. One of the things that is happening on social media is, to me, you got to present the facts to back up what you're saying. And one of the things that I've seen on social media, people are not even affected by the lava and is actually creating GoFundMe accounts. So with that being said, people are actually losing their homes right now and going through a lot of stuff, and people that is not even close by Leilani, Pohoiki, any place in the affected areas, even in Kalapana, not even in Kalapana, they're starting GoFundMe accounts, so they're benefiting from what's happening. So they're using what's happening now. So I've been seeing that, and that just disgusts me, because here we are at the front line giving updates on what's happening for the people that is being affected. And I see people that is doing GoFundMe accounts. And this is multiple people. The second thing, there was people doing tours and it's not only one, not only two, but there's a few people that starting to charge people to go in. Some first responders starting to, I own one tour company, but my heart is actually helping my community here. So and people are starting to do tours, but I have another thing too that has gone on viral. So another thing that I wanted to explain the facts also. My friend, he's here. He's been with us this whole morning, helping evacuate stuff from friends' houses now. And people, and just to, I'm a full Kanaka. I'm a Hawaiian, but my skin color don't make me different from any other guy. Look at this guy right there. Look at his skin color. But it doesn't really matter because we all the same blood. Our blood is the same color. But here's the thing. There's some people out there, Hawaiians, attacking one of the brothers that would help us from day one. From day one. One of my good brothers, he came down here, help evacuate guys, help take care of people, help come to the hub, donate his whole time, donate all kinds of stuff. He donated almost $5,000 worth of stuff for Puhonua Opuna. Masks, water, everything. And he come over with me every day. Every day, I know for a fact he's not taking tours. Because he's with me every day. He's with us, right here, all of us. Right here, Kalapana, Noah, Cause over here. And he's here taking his... And people stay bashing him about doing tours. Brothers, you guys gotta get your guys facts, bro. This guy, I'm gonna tell you this guy been helping us from the beginning. So don't be bashing anybody about this guy doing tours because, bro, this brother is a good brother and he's been helping us from the beginning. And this is for you guys that is bashing him. Right here. This guy, right here, he's been helping us from the beginning. So if guys over here trying to see, that just hurts me because people still doing that kind of stuff. And this is one brother that is helping everybody down here. And you guys gonna bash this guy? Come on, get something better else to do. Come over here, help if you guys like bash. Come help. People stay in desperate need, and everybody, I see all my Big Island thieves. And you guys gonna do that kind of stuff, bro. We need help over here. Come. No bash. Come over here, bro. And this is a good brother right there. You've been helping us from the beginning. And we're seeing all this kind of stuff that is coming up. And you guys bash this guy because he's howling? Come on. Now you guys making him a howling team? This is not about howling. This is not about Hawaiians. This is about people. This is not about Hawaiians, howlers, Japanese. It's about people. Being people. People that I don't really care if you guys, you only get $5 or $500 million. It doesn't really matter, bro. We're all people. We're losing stuff here. People is getting affected by what's happening. And guess what? This brother right here has been helping. This guy right here has been helping us. Never did once. He ride with me every day. Never did once. And you guys say bashing him about doing tours. Come on, bro. That my heart sore when you guys say that kind of stuff. because no one know. You guys posting stuff about a long time ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. You guys posting stuff. Come on. So with that being said, I had to rant out because, you know, some of the people here is taking their time away from their family and donating their time here for people that is in the area. So with that being said, enough bashing already. Come over here. If you guys like bash, you guys come over here, bash with the water that is coming out of the truck. Right, Kalapana? Yeah, I'll go tell you right there. This brother right there. Kalapana was with us, right, Kalo? Yeah. Tell me what this guy been doing.
We're taking videos for everybody that don't understand, doesn't see what's going on. Show all you guys that don't know.
He's been helping from day one. Yeah.
For you guys.
I don't take terrible pictures like that anyway. If you look at my pictures, they all look nice next to the lava, and they don't show people being disrespectful. Look back on the page over the last several years, you'll see that.
Yeah, man. Been helping over here, bro. So, with that being said, bro, stay classy, Puna. That's right, stay classy. And get the facts right, because this brother right here will help from the day one. Right, Doms?
Aloha. Nothing but aloha over here.
Yeah. So, no matter what skin color you guys are, bro, we all one family. My blood is same color as everybody else's. So, yeah. Malama, everybody, and that's what I gotta say. Anybody gotta say anything else? Kanoa, you like say anything?
Classy, Puna.
What?
Stay classy, Puna.
How about you, Malama?
Calm down. We need help carrying the water. It's fucking heavy. 8 pounds per gallon.
Keep it real, Puna. Everybody help each other. Stop showing hate. Show the love. Malama Puna.
Alright.
You like come down?
Yeah.
Instead of just come down here, help.
That's right. So, like I said, I know for a fact, but he's been riding with me every day, helping out people. So, with that being said, aloha everybody. Stay classy, Puna.